Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, wherever you are. I want to say thank you for taking this moment to watch me online. For this is my day 11th of Lose to Win Challenge. And this is a challenge that I've taken that I'll be eating 1 meal a day until we reach the target, the tangible target that we could do something that we could all know and could feel and we could see and can benefit with an impact that is tangible and visible. This Lose to Win Challenge is to put a spotlight in Sudan and South Sudan. That's how it is. So even though I speak about South Sudan, maybe I may not mention Sudan a lot, but it's still the same thing that I want to mention. If you talk about Sudan, it's difficult to talk about Sudan and you don't mention situation in South Sudan. Before I go on with what I wanted to share today, probably most of you saw some of my posts today. I made a post today and I made a post a few days ago. Some of the images that we saw are really so disturbing. One story that I heard was the commander issued an order that the soldiers go and call out the villages that are hiding in the wild, which were women and children, and tell them, come back, it is safe. And he had a speaker microphone whereby he's announcing there's going to be food, there's going to be medicines and come. And these are women and children and the elderly that were afraid. So the government is supposed to be responsible, supposed to welcome them and treat them well. So when they started settling in, that's when they started massacring them. And they started shooting the children, killing the women, and doing atrocities. You see, I watched one woman make a speech and she said, during the struggle of SPLA, the food that we made, the bullets that we carried on our head to the battlefield for the men to fight, our children, our cousins, were all fighting for this liberation of the country. So when we hear about the government, we saw the government is for all of us. But now when we hear the government and IO are fighting, we only know IO and the government are fighting. But we did not know, even those who are supporters of the government in their own area, when the government came and they identify you are Nuer, when no one is watching, they kill. So basically, this ethnic cleansing that is happening is based on fear. The fear is terrorize, demolish them completely. Yeah, I saw a little baby, probably 2 or 3 year old, who has been slaughtered. Imagine a baby slaughtered. Now, what would you call that? Government doing that to its own citizen. Not men captured in the battlefield, but babies slaughtered. Some occasion I heard that the baby's head are smashed on walls or smashed on trees, especially when it's a boy. So this woman said, if you can do this to babies, the seeds, you are uprooting the down of the generation. From that lady's speech, she said, like, if you're a child from a Nuer person who have come with the agenda, because you've been paid probably $500, $1,000, $10,000 to come and show your loyalty to the government by killing your own instead of protecting them. The people who are killing the civilian here, by the way, they are not Dinka who are doing this. The Dinka is behind, but it's a Nuer general who's paid. Some general, this one general that I heard was given $50,000 and brought all the way from Unity State with his forces and forces that are organized to go to low area. So they are paid. And imagine, this is the money from your oil. You are paid your own money to go and kill your own people. The thing I love about history is always recorded. And one thing that most dictators think they'll stay in power forever. They never know what is called the universal balance. When you plan to do ethnic cleansing for a people, the people you're trying to plan to destroy may not have an idea. But as you hate them, because they have the truth, the biggest mistake Nuer people make in their life, all the atrocities that are happening in Nuer land right now, I would not put a finger on the government. I'll say the Nuer are the bigger problem here. Because since 1980s up to now, you have always not told your story. You've always remained behind the scene and always give the signatory power to someone else, not having confidence that one of your own should lead. An example was this. When Dr. John Garang came, he had no army. And who had army? The Nuer people had army in the bush. But when John Garang came, he was welcomed by the Nuer people as one of their own. He had no army, but they respected his PhD, they respected him. So William Nyon said, this young man, I'll support him. There was Gaitut that was in the bush. And then there was a discussion, should Gaitut should take the lead, Dr. John Garang should be the head of the army, while Gaitut said John Garang should be the head and Gaitut should be head of the army. But something happened, misunderstanding happened. Later on, Gaitut was killed. Who were the people? The person who had the most army was William Nyon. And for William Nyon, used all his forces. And when he was more powered and he gained to have thousands and thousands under his command. So what happened? John Garang was given power. By who? By Nuer themselves. They gave John Garang the power. John Garang got into power, put a structure in place, and then John Garang up. Second is Jiang. William Nyon probably was number 3 or number 2. And as time went by, they organized themselves. They put themselves in the position of power to run SPLM. The Nuer people stayed humble. Nuer people were also used to do what was called the Gajak massacre. Now you see Gajak right now are so humble, they've been silenced. Most people may think Gajak, the Nuer Gajak, are coward now. No. What happened, so many manipulation has gone into them. Some have been paid to keep quiet. Some have been warned that the atrocities that happened in 1980s could happen to you. The massacres that happened in Gajak, because I remember the stories I used to hear when I used to be in internet. 30 Gajak men can get out and challenge 1,000 SPLA soldiers, and they would fight to the last man. Sometimes they're able to cause confusion and chase away a huge amount of troops. And what do SPLA do in return? What SPLA do in return? Go to the Gajak village and burn the homes down. So SPLA itself committed genocide. And some of the things that SPLA did in Nuer land, even the Arab themselves have never done. Omar al-Bashir used to say, if you want to stay in power, don't kill Nuer women and children. So when he invade Nuer area, he avoid killing Nuer women and children. Because he said, once you touch Nuer women and children, you are cursed as the leader. In that area, you'll never be in that power. Now, all the atrocities that have been happening in Nuer land, most of them are not documented, and the Nuer people never talk about it. But you see, 1991, the story of 1991, those people told their story better, that they claimed that Most of the atrocities happened to them, but all that happened in Nuerland happened. The massacre of over 2,000 or 3,000 that took place in Lair before 1991, the massacre that happened in Low area before 1991, nobody counts. The killing of the peace people that came to Panyagor, nobody talk about. So when the Nuer fight back to retaliate, then everybody scream. It always happened by killing Nuer first. You kill Nuer, you kill Nuer. Then Nuer battle up. Now when Nuer now responds by killing the Dinka, because what Dr. Machari said, don't attack Dinka, don't attack Dinka, don't attack Dinka. It's going to be shamed like that. But now they're killing, and the Nuer people are not retaliating by killing Dinka people because they don't want to do it. But if they start right now, that they're going to start killing civilians that are Dinka, South Sudan will be in a mess because they can't. They have weapons. All they have to do is walk into a Dinka village, burn it down, kill, go to the next village, burn it. The government cannot be able to protect the entire Dinka area. But now, Nuer people are talking to themselves, no, look, we're fighting the government. We cannot do the same thing that they're doing to us. Let's not allow the devil that has possessed President Kiir to possess us, you know? So all these killings that is happening, if you're a Nuer person that is walking, I'm not going to empathize because I know some Dinka people are going to watch. I don't need your empathy because if you know the government is doing something terrible and you're not saying anything about it, it means you're happy with what's happening. But all these things could roll back in the future because the men that are in front line that are supporting the government are Nuer men who are in front, paid money, and then the government boost that they are cool. You take the credit, you're killing these people. But you never know, things could turn, the tables could turn because war is like football. This you go, you play, you score your goal, the next person score their goal. Now, the world for the first time now is beginning to know the atrocities that are happening because the children of those who are in America, who their parents are back at home, are speaking out. Now, some people say speaking out will not make anything. No, that's not true. If the devil comes to steal in your house or a thief and you scream at night, the thieves run away. That's why thieves come at night. So telling the world about the evil that is happening, you know, in Nuerland, is the world will know. Good news is, you is watching, you know, like I can see you, you're watching, I can see you watching, you Nuer man who's watching. If you are not talking about what is happening to your family members back at home, if they cry to you on the phone, if they send you a picture and you don't post it, you are the problem. I was speaking with someone in the US and I told him, I sent him the pictures, what's happening. And what he told me, Manuel, we may know about what's happening. Here, your government has paid so many lobbyists here to be able to close the doors that are happening. But what your government may not be able to pay for is social media. The social media, the government will not be able to pay everybody on social media to shut you guys down. So I would urge all of you, as long as if it is true that the atrocities are happening in your homeland, let anyone who has social media, anything that happened, share it immediately because it's documented and you tell your story. So the only thing we can do now, if you're hearing me, whatever is happening, we tell our story. We have to own our story. And this story of our struggle is power in itself, and it is unit, and you win for us empathy. People who care about humanity around the world would see all this atrocity and they would side with us. Today I was really inspired by a Nigerian man who saw the atrocities that are happening in South Sudan. A whole Nigerian person, somebody all the way in Nigeria. Imagine if a Nigerian can empathize with the situation of Nuer, and he made an announcement that President Kiir, as military allies, as armed Dinka people, and they're doing what is called ethnic cleansing in Nuer land. Imagine if you have armies of different nations siding with Kiir to do this, to kill civilians. Now, their main focus should be IO, not babies. You see, we heard Oling spoke the other day that spare nothing. So now what Oling's speech is what is happening. Even like right now, I speak to you, I get threats from different people. You should not post this. You should not talk about this. You should not do about this. No, this is my truth. This is my freedom of speech. I can speak this. You know, the only thing the government can do is take this flesh. But my truth can remain. They can threaten me, they can arrest me, they can do whatever they can. But my truth will stand and remain for generation. You see, there's a saying in Nuer land, in our culture, a man is respected if they die for what they believe in. Fear no death, because it's the unification with us and our ancestors. So you who have a social media, what are you afraid of? If you're in America, post it. If you're in East Africa, if we're 20,000 people posting at the same time, he's not going to be able to come and arrest these 20,000 people. Yeah, I posted this, and a Dinka friend of mine called me and said, Manuel, I have no idea that this is what our government is doing. I had no idea. But let me tell you, if I speak out right now, I am going to be isolated. I'm going to be called a traitor in our community. But here's my donation. This I donate. Where can I send this money? I may not say anything, but I can give a donation to go and help with this atrocity. Now, that's a human being who spoke from his eyes, somebody who knows. And he said it clearly. If I speak out, I'm going to be looked at as traitor. If I speak out, I'll be silenced. You know, if a Dinka person speak out, they can disappear easily. And nobody will try to fight on their behalf. So you have to understand the government that is using fear. So if you don't see a lot of Dinka people speaking out, don't think that they are supporting the government. There is real fear that is happening, you know, and there's a whole community united. They're saying, oh, if we don't stand by Kiir, we're all going to be destroyed. So they're being manipulated behind to keep quiet and not to speak out. So in this struggle, I know there are some other communities that are suffering in South Sudan, but there's no community that is bearing the weight. And the reason why Nuer are a target, because Nuer never like anything injustice. It's in our blood, we don't like it. That's why we're a target. We don't like any system that bring oppression, because it's in our DNA. But what a privilege to be trusted with this challenge at this moment by God, because we're in the history. We're being persecuted for who we are, for standing for what is truth. Imagine, no other tribe has ever been hired for foreigners to come and fight them by their own government. No other tribe in South Sudan that they've used chemical weapons to bomb, or they go into their village and slaughter and do all this. What I can ask you, as any person, if you're losing your family members because of how we're being discriminated and the challenge we're giving, you have to listen to this. If they tried to murder all the Jews in the Nazi time, they were all put in concentration camp, and Hitler wanted to destroy them all with all his power, all his might, and they still survive. That means we can. It can. You know, the oppressors will always try to lock every door and try to push you into a corner and make you believe you are nothing. If the civil rights movement were able to survive all the challenges that they were going through, the slavery, were free, it means it's possible. What the people in power do is create manipulation to create an illusion that your life don't matter, that you are alone and nobody cares. But I tell you, when we tell our story, the world will watch. The dead will be waiting beyond the grave, and the gods are listening. So none of us telling our story, it wouldn't go in vain. So you who's listening to me, if you are not taking this initiative, there are 3 things you can do. 1, tell your story. Whether you are in school, you are in college, in your workplace. Today I spoke with 3 people who are working at the White House, and I told them about the situation, and they know what is happening. And what they told me is, keep telling your story. Own your story. And as you own your story, the more people will get to hear about it. Because when the more people get to hear about it, then there is what is called public demand for truth, public demand for justice, public demand for accountability. So there are people around the world, when they unite and they know what is happening, they shake governments without firing a bullet. Their voices, their pen, their phone calls are more important than the bombs that are dropping. So there is hope, and hope is gonna come. So this is the Lose to Win challenge that I wanted to share with you. I'm on a 30-day, right now it's the 11th day. We'll be eating 1 meal a day to put attention in South Sudan and Sudan. But there's a tangible goal. There's a link here that I've put where we can make something constructible and tangible. It's called Lose to Win. You can join there. But the story of today goes to a young lady called Anna Andrew Dijok. So Anna Andrew Dijok did something amazing. And this, what she did was unbelievable. It is unity in itself. It's power in itself. And it's like, when I heard that story, it almost brought tears into my eyes. And it actually literally showed that there's beautiful people in the world. So there was a young man who had his fiancée pregnant. And this young man's fiancée is pregnant, did not know what to do because he was in a refugee camp in Uganda. So what the young man did, he just told his story on social media about what is happening. And it happened to be a young Nuer man. He had nowhere where he can access funds. And the story he was telling is that his fiancée is pregnant. And as she was on labor, the baby died inside the wife. And so they went to hospital. And as they arrived in the hospital, the people in the hospital said, "We are sorry, we cannot help. You have to pay first." And so he took his fiancée back because they're in the refugee camp. And there's nothing he could do. So the man was just stressed, the family member stressed, because the baby that has died inside the womb started affecting the mom. So the mom's body was swelling, the entire body, the legs, the body, the face, the eyes. She was intoxicated by what has happened in her womb. And because she told her story, Anna Andrew Dijok happened to contact the young man on Facebook and ask him, what is happening? How can I help? So the young man told his story, and he told him, please take that young lady to the hospital now, and let me talk to the people in the hospital. So the woman was taken to hospital. Andrew Dijok paid all the bill. She paid all the bill. And the lady was operated. She was saved. Her life was rescued. And later on, she went to normal. She gave birth to a young girl. And that girl now is also named Anna after that. Now you look at it, this is empathy. And the lady who did that was a lady from Nasser, all the way from Nasser. And the young man who was rescued with his fiancée was all the way from Bantu area. Now you look at this. This is what is called unity, where we can stand for one another without. This is what is called real beauty, standing up for one another. So in this situation, I just want to make a shout out to anyone who's listening and to all our friends in the world who are listening to us and empathizing, so that they know these atrocities that are happening in South Sudan will be this atrocity, government using its entire power to target civilians. You know, if you target men in the uniform, I have no problem. But when men in uniform target civilians, that is where I don't like. I don't like that. You know, even if I have access or information to see that IO is literally targeting civilians and doing ethnic cleansing, on principle, I will not stand with them. Because you need to target the man. Even we have ethic, war ethic, long time ago. If there's a battle going on and women come to surround a man, you don't touch that man. When a man runs where there is women, you don't touch. Whenever there's women alone and there's children, you don't go around. You only look for men. That's how what African used to fight. You respect. But this modern way, they fool themselves. They say, destroy your enemy completely. They say, target civilians. The killing of civilians. This killing of civilians has no end. Because at that moment, you feel powerful. You kill the civilian. And that civilian, remember it. There's genetic memory. They go, they prepare. And when they prepare, there's something people don't know. The power of revenge. When you're intoxicated by the demon called revenge, you hit with a force that is unstoppable. Now, vengeance is so tough. Now, all these people who have lost their families, you may feel like you want to destroy them powerful. My greatest fear is when they begin to hit back. Then everybody loses. Nobody wins. You know? We have a president that is not fit to rule. A president that appoints dead. A president that cannot even walk. Like, we are so embarrassed in the global stage that it goes for meeting and expect empathy or sympathy to the world. It's embarrassing us. The entire South Sudan is full of smart people that can take that country in a better place. We cannot even read a message well, cannot even communicate, cannot remember. Every leader that meets him does not even know what to talk to him about, to feel sorry, or to do anything. But vampires see an opportunity, see him as a weak leader that they can exploit. Because him as a leader his first thing should be to protect his people. Because he's not protecting his people, he doesn't get respect. You see, there's a saying that a woman that is so pretty, that does not have a strong frontal cortex, would be fooled, because she's so pretty, she's beautiful. And that beauty of her, because her mental or frontal cortex is not strong, she would be fooled. And her treasure, you know, her treasure, that thing that men look for, you know what I mean, will be exploited. Her body counts will be high. Her beauty inside diminished, because that woman. And then they also says it's the same. A woman who's intoxicated by alcohol, that has shut down their frontal cortex, that for them to reason, where their mind is clogged, that woman can easily be exploited by a man that is sober around them. That's why you find that men who pray women in the clubs, they just wait after she has 3-4 glasses, then they carry them on their shoulder, take them home. The woman wake up in the day, oh, you took advantage of me because I was drunk. That's saying, there's one great African leader who will talk about that. And he said, that's what happened to a country. When you have a leader that is not strong here and has resources, that leader will be exploited and his people would suffer. So as much as our leader is suffering in his body, his physical and mental body and emotional body is reflected into our nation. So thank you, everybody who's listening to me, and thank you for all the people who donated to Lose to Win Challenge. And if I sway to the side that I may trigger someone and may say something that may not resonate with you, I want to say I didn't mean it that. It's just that I'm concerned about my own kind that are being discriminated, that has been made publicly, that they're going to be killed, women and children to be killed in South Sudan. I know some of you who are in Juba are relaxed, you don't know it, but it's happened. You know about when genocide in Rwanda happened, it's happened simply like that, slowly by that. But I have complete faith in my people that whatever is happening, it will come to pass. It will come to pass because nothing that we are facing now that our ancestors did not face. Whatever President Kiir is doing is a piece of cake. It's just because we did not organize ourselves. We never thought that this leader will have evil plan against us. We never thought that we would be discriminated in our own country, that our resources that are exploited would be used against us. We never knew that would happen to us, you know. So now in the stories that we tell, we should own our stories. And we should, as we own our stories, we tell our stories with truth and dignity. You see, 30% of the world population, 30% of the world population empathize with humanity. They don't care what color or where you are. They empathize. Anything that is wrong, they don't stand with it. So these are the believers we should look for. When they hear our stories, they will do something and they will hold our hands and we'll walk together. Because right now, the Nuer people are alone. Because you don't have the money. The leaders that can speak out for you are not there. And so the massacre happened in silence because big money has been spent all over the world to shut down the doors. But the good thing is, they cannot shut down the social media. Because the social media, we can tell our truth. We have the evidence. Those who have mobile phone, whatever happened, they film it and they send it to us. They send it to their family members and we share it. One of the most powerful tools that used long time ago to govern society. It was something called gossip. Gossip was the most powerful tool that was invented by women. And that gossip, because long time ago, your word of honor, your way of life as a person, how you carry yourself, how you handle yourself, matter in the society. Because gossip was one of the most powerful wisdom. How those women used to run a king down. So if they know the king is a bad king, they would create a story about the king. One person would say, oh, the king was found sleeping with a dog. One woman will start the story. The king was found sleeping with a dog. And they go on a cup of tea, telling the story that was never true, that the king slept with a dog. And the rumors spread all over. Now, when the women decide that they want to destroy this, that's what gossip became a real powerful tool that women used to use to actually psychologically damage the king. Then story go to the priest. Then the priest hear it, or in a hearing, oh, you know what? The king that is supposed to be highly representing all mankind, and very close to the to gods, he's sleeping with dogs. What? The king is sleeping with dogs. Then the priest, it goes to the pope, and goes ever the word moves around. And who find it? Who invented it? The women. Women used to create weapon. If they want to bring a man down, they will bring a man down with all ways they can just by telling stories. So it's the same thing, same formula that activists use. So activists, we tell stories. And when we tell stories, our truth against the lie of the government. Because the government will tell a lie to make the world believe. Can you imagine what the government did recently? In the books, the educational curriculum, what they put in educational curriculum is the Nuer are terrible people. How do you write textbooks for a nation and teach in school how terrible a tribe is? Imagine the Ministry of Education, that person is evil. Seriously. And you pick one tribe and describe them, they steal, they do this, they're terrible people, they are not friendly with their neighbor. How do you teach? Now you're teaching hatred to the kids, polluting the mind of the children. But this is the topic for another day. So listen, those who are listening to me, the world is listening to me. The stories that I'm telling are what is happening in my country. Before, I was an activist representing the entire country. But now, there's an issue happening in South Sudan where government is committing ethnic cleansing against one tribe called the Nuer, mobilizing all its resources, mobilizing allies around the world, using all the manpower, the power, creating counterinsurgency, buying some of the Nuer men, giving them $500. Some generals are given $500, $1,000, $50,000, $20,000, and then are told to go to your homeland and destroy it and burn. And then they go back, they are promoted to sit next to the king. Anyway, peace is you, everybody. Have a lovely night.